Let's go over the Star Wars franchise when it comes to Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, for the characters of Obi Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one of my favorite scenes in Return of the Jedi is, of course, in the moment in time in which Luke Skywalker meets up with the Force Ghost of Obi Wan Kenobi, in which Obi-Wan delivers Luke a lesson about the Emperor and how Luke must bring peace and justice throughout the whole entire galaxy by essentially killing Darth Vader. Now, of course, Luke Skywalker resented that idea of killing his own father. He couldn't do it, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, once again, he gave him the lesson of the Emperor and to never fall for his manipulations. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking me if there were any alternate scenes of what was going to happen in the original scripts for Return of the Jedi involving both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker. Now, we do know that Luke was rather angry at Obi-Wan when he found out that Darth Vader was actually his father and why he didn't tell him he was his father. He was rather angry about that. Now, if we look at the original script of Star Wars Return of the Jedi when it comes to some of the rough drafts and some of the other drafts for the movie that George Lucas had in mind for both of these characters of course, Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan. Now, the original scene plays out, of course, where Obi-Wan's going over Anakin and how Leia is his sister, this and that, right? Now, in one of the drafts for Return of the Jedi, now this all comes from a very interesting piece called Star Wars The Annotated Scripts by Laurent Buzaroo, and it's a very interesting piece. Go ahead and check it out if you must. And one of the scenes goes over an alternate scene between both Luke and Obi-Wan on the planet Dagobah. Alright, so this is the moment in time in which Obi-Wan is talking to Luke about Anakin Skywalker and how they were great friends, and Ben is essentially going over a in-depth story of the friendship that he had with his father, Anakin Skywalker. And this is just making Luke angrier and angrier as Obi-Wan is going through this conversation. He's telling him about how he failed and how the Emperor was able to make him a machine, essentially. How Anakin became, a machine, more machine than man. But this is where things get really interesting. Ben reveals that he actually does indeed have a sister, and that sister, Luke Skywalker guesses to be Leia, and he's correct on that. However, this is the moment in time in which Luke Skywalker attacks Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the reason as to why he attacks Obi-Wan is because Obi-Wan explains that Yoda is going to die very soon, and Luke gets angrier and finally ignites his lightsaber to attack Obi-Wan. Instead, eventually Luke tosses it into the swamp. Now, the swamp, of course, being on Dagobah, there's no word on what happened to the lightsaber after that. Of course, if you investigate or if you kind of research more of the original drafts, I'm sure that there's something in there of how, how Luke Skywalker was able to retrieve that lightsaber. So you can see some little, parallels here. Maybe Rian Johnson got this idea from the original script of Return of the Jedi, and that's why we see Luke tossing the saber over the cliff in The Last Jedi, or it could just be a direct inspiration from what he did on the Death Star 2 in order to not confront the Emperor, at least battling him. But looking at this original script, guys, it's a very interesting piece of how Luke Skywalker was about to attack Obi-Wan Kenobi. He ignited his lightsaber. He was pretty much ready to strike, even though he was a Force ghost, but instead he chucked it into the swamp on Dagobah. A very interesting piece. Would you guys have actually liked to see this on screen? In the finalized version of the movie, would it have made sense to you guys? Would it have actually, kind of broke the character of Luke, or would this actually have made him a more in-depth character when it comes to his feelings being shown in, an outward manifestation? In that kind of way. I think that would have been amazing. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
nights alone.